Hey everyone, and welcome back to Let's Talk Leeds with me, GWFM, and I'm joined by one of my esteemed co-hosts, Mattinho Got Game. Say hi, mate.
You all right, guys?
Nice to see you join us. Michael is away on holiday, so unfortunately, it's just going to be our. Well, it might be a blessing in disguise, who knows? But basically, we're going to try and obviously do them a little bit quicker because I would say it every single time, but we are genuinely going to try and make it a quicker video this time. Right, so what we're going to do in today's edition of Let's Talk Leeds is we're going to talk about the away game at Carrow Road against Norwich City, and which obviously we won 3-0, get in, and then the home defeat against Preston in the League Cup, and we're going to see if it's actually, does it matter all that much with it being the Cup, etc. So first of all, like I said, we're going to get into the Norwich City game.
So I'd say it was probably our best performance of the season. We looked solid defensively. Going forward, we were just absolutely, unplayable at times. And I was worried a little bit about this game going away. Norwich, they're a bit up and down, but occasionally they can put on a decent performance. And was it Pookie? What is his name? Great name, by the way.
Yeah, Pookie, I think it is. Yeah, Finnish lad, I think, if I remember rightly.
Yeah, he looked like he was causing some problems. We looked like we were a little bit pegged in at the start of the first half at times. But I mean, once we got that first goal, it sort of settled us down a little bit, and then in the second half we just blew them away, really, didn't they? So very, very good. Can't really say any fairer than that, to be honest.
Yeah, to be fair, I don't think I can disagree with anything you've just said there, mate. I mean, definitely our best performance of the season so far, and that's quite some saying, really, because if you think how we've started the season against some decent sides. I mean, Norwich, they're not doing as well as what you'd probably expect this season so far, but they have scored a lot of goals, and we shut them out. Also, I would say, they've been a bit of a bogey team, I would say, especially at their place. We won our game, like in the Cup, I remember, I think it was when they're in the Premier League. I might be wrong. When Vieira scored that scream pie from like 30 million yards away. But yeah, I was very chuffed with the performance overall, and just seconding basically what you just said there. So, what do you think of the top three performers for that game?
Top three players, I'd say Hernandez.
Yeah,
very good, absolute belter of a finish. That was it was a brilliant goal. Can't really say fair for that one because I thought it just far away the best player on the pitch. And again, it's kind of difficult to pick a top three because we were very, very good. Like I said, best performance of the season, in my opinion. Then I would probably go with Size.
Yeah, potentially. Back to himself from the beginning of the season.
Yeah, had a bit of a wobble in the last game, but I don't think anybody particularly played well in the game previously. It was against, who was it against again? I can't remember now.
It was against Swansea.
That was it, yeah. And then I don't know. I mean, take your pick, really. There's a lot of potentials there. I think Click had a good game. Obviously, got his goal, took it well. That's his third of the season, I think.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, third season. Yeah, a little bit looking it fell to him, but that's what it's there for. Cool, composed finish afterwards.
And I think I don't know, maybe Phillips again, just on the basis that against Swansea was dragged off after 25 odd minutes. So come back on and pretty much play what I think was a full 90 minutes. Apologies if you can hear it digging there.
Are you punching the mic or something?
So yeah, I'll probably go with Phillips there because he looked like he was just had a little wobble.
Yeah,
we've seen them before in the past, but he looked like
he came out of the other side.
Yeah, it looked like he's back to the player we saw prior to the Swansea game.
Yeah, I mean, I would definitely agree with Hernandez being the player, man of the match. Basically, I thought it was outstanding. A major part in the first goal. Obviously, got his own goal, which was like class as well. But yeah, it just is all right. He just seems, I think I've said it before, he's like shit in the field. He seems to be everywhere, even with his tackling and getting stuck in. I don't remember seeing him doing it as much. I've seen it in spells last season or whatever. But he's someone who you just look to like pass it to and he'll try and do something creative. But no, not this time. He's a right workhorse. So he's obviously first choice. I think second choice for me is Phillips. I think the block that he did at 3-0 last minute of the game didn't matter that we conceded, really. We were going to win the game, and it just epitomised his performance and Leeds' performance as a whole. Resilience, basically. just diving in, throwing bodies on the line just to block the shot. And then number 3, for that reason alone, basically is Janssen coming back to the side and putting a really good shift, in my opinion. A couple of really important blocks when it was 0-0. And yeah, it was like he'd not been away. So yeah, I was very impressed with Janssen in that regard. Right, so I think that's the Norwich game covered. It was a very good performance overall, and yeah, we were very buoyed going into the Preston game in the League Cup second round. But things didn't really go to plan, did they, Matt?
No, I mean, it was just, I think we got a really poor start. Yeah. Obviously, the penalty, which shouldn't have been a penalty.
It was a dive.
Blatant dive. We sort of got maybe a little bit of a let off when they that terrible tackle from Ledson. When he got a red card, but
it was awful, wasn't it?
But as for the most part, from the highlights we saw, because we couldn't find a stream, neither of us could find a stream to watch it on. I don't think they were actually showing it, but it looked like from the highlights we had the majority of it going forward, and I mean, possession-wise, we have 58% of the possession, but the second goal, Barker's goal, was just horrifically bad defending. He waltzed through 3-4 of them, and then it was a good finish. It was a great goal, but terrible defending, really was. And yeah, he was like polar opposites compared to what we were against Swansea. I know there were a lot of changes. Shaughnessy came in, Pearce came in, Dallas, Roberts, Shackleton, Harrison, they all came in. So while there was a few changes there, I think we got off to a bad start. We just couldn't turn it around, even though we had chances to maybe bring it back, and we had the extra man advantage as well. We just 26 shots, 8 on target.
Says it all, doesn't it, really?
We were dominant, and we really should have got something out of that game. But at the same time, not having those extra midweek games, considering how the size of our squad, might be a bit more helpful down the line than being in the cup and having those extra games to kind of wade through.
Yeah, I agree with that. The one thing I will say is I live more locally, and I listen to Radio Leeds, so I managed to at least listen to it. Adam Pope and Noah Whelan, obviously former man, of course, from the early 90s. But one thing that stuck out for me from this performance, from what I could gather, is it was something that Noah Whelan said, and he said it's like the first real physical challenge that we've had this season, and essentially we failed. However, the way I see it is, against like Millwall last season, which is when we got found out, we got dominated. We didn't get dominated in this game. Granted, they had 10 men, but that's one thing I'm hoping is going to be different. We've actually still created chances, not clear-cut ones, and we kept trying. But at least we've actually tried to redeem it, and instead of like just capitulating and getting destroyed, like it happened so many times last season. So I'm taking heart a little bit from it, but I'm a little bit concerned at the same time by the fact that it was against a physical side this time round. Yeah, the goal, it was a good finish from them. The penalty, I say it was a dive. People might disagree and say it's a penalty. Now, there was a clip that was shown, and it was shown in slow motion. And if you watch him, he's already going down. Shaughnessy's standing leg is there, and the guy just kicks Shaughnessy's leg on his way down. And that, for me, is why that wasn't a penalty. People might say it's a penalty, but for me, if someone's doing that, he's bought that penalty. He's just literally kicked his man as he's going down to make it look like he's been fouled. And for me, it shouldn't have been. The goal,
he was already going, wasn't it?
Oh, yeah, that's what I mean.
He was already going before the contact was made. So.
I thought when it showed it on Sky Sports and it shows the goal, I actually thought, that seems a bit dubious. And then, obviously, then I saw someone did a clip and they brought it down to slow motion, and you could see exactly what it does. So yeah, it got bought, did that pen for me, and obviously we were up against it. Ledson getting sent off a horrendous challenge, and it did give us a chance, but I'd like to think that historically we've always struggled against 10 men. I seem to remember back in the day when we were in League One, drawing with Leyton Orient. I think we were winning 2-0 or something like that. They went out of 10 men and we ended up drawing 2-2. It says it all, really. Little things like that just stick in my head. I don't know why, but they just do. But yeah, otherwise though, Matt, I mean, not really much to shout about. And I know it was hard if you'd already been able to see the highlights, but looking from what you've seen, what would you say would have been your top 3 players? Or is it just too difficult to say on this basis?
I mean, I think Harrison had a bit of influence down the left-hand side. He looked like he was, very willing runner, putting a couple of dangerous crosses here and there. It's hard to pick anyone else out. I mean, it looked like all of our play was going down that left-hand side and through him from the highlights I saw. Like I said, we can't have a real, good overview of the game because we couldn't watch the whole thing or even, some extended highlights. So,
searching everywhere, I couldn't find them.
Yeah. So I think I'm just going to have to name Harrison because, like I said, the majority of the highlights and the majority of the stuff I saw, it was coming down the left-hand side. So I'm going to say Harrison and everybody else gets a 2.
So I don't know. I mean, for me, the player that seems to had the biggest mare was Shaughnessy. He got took off at half time. Shackleton got taken off as well, which I remember Noel Whelan saying he was surprised because I thought there was others that played worse than him. But I'm trying to think. Bamford, he huffed and he puffed, didn't he? But he didn't really get much of a service. From what I've seen, he had a decent shot that was well saved, palmed wide for a corner. And I am actually struggling to name a player that's a man of the match, if I'm honest with you. Based on what I heard, they were all pretty much awful. Some were worse than others. I suppose I'm probably going to say Janssen, which might surprise you. It's purely for the fact that I know he did no wrong. The goals came from Shaughnessy, but the penalty shouldn't have been a penalty, the fact is that it was him that fouled him. And I saw, apparently, I had a big row with my dad in text form, because he was saying that Janssen was a liability because he gave away the penalty. And it was because on the Sky Sports commentary thing, the written text commentary, it said that he gave away the penalty when in fact it was actually Shaughnessy. So yeah, basically, having watched the highlights and from listening to the game, I don't remember, and I think I've seen like a little snippet saying that he won absolutely everything in air as well. So for that, on that basis alone, I'm gonna give it Janssen, and I can't really say anyone else. But one person who didn't do himself any favours whatsoever, and this again is based on what listened to the radio game, is Tyler Roberts. Apparently he had a bit of a mare. I know Shaughnessy had a bit of a mare as well, but first game for God knows how long, I'm going to cut him a little bit of slack.
I think the difficult thing was the fact that they went 1-0 up and then they went down to 10 men. And then at that point, it kind of played into Preston's hands. They could sit back, they could hit us on the break, which they did for the second goal. And then just throughout the entirety of the second half, we were just having to chase the game. And Preston didn't really have to do a whole. It's not that they didn't have to do a whole lot, but they didn't have to. They weren't having to chase the game and go and get an equaliser or whatever. It was just the impetus was on us to go and get a goal and get ourselves back into the game. And like you said, they're a physical side. We're not the biggest side in the league. I think, our tallest player is probably Janssen, Cooper. But barring that, it's just a lot of, kind of shortish flair players. So,
yeah, I think I'd agree with that, yeah.
Yeah, once the first goal came in, I think we were chasing the game, and it wasn't going to be our day, potentially.
Yeah, I think, just lastly, touching on this game, I think we needed probably like a set piece. And unfortunately, like you said, because we're short, we don't win many things in the air. Obviously we've got Janssen, but he can't do it on his own. He'll probably have, probably could afford to double team him, and mark him at corners. But never mind. Bit of Bluefoot dads. But yeah, a bit disappointing, but it is what it is. We're out of the cup. At this point, what do you guys think in the comments? Let us know. Does it matter that much that we're in the cup? Can we now focus on the league, or is it just a case of we've been found out? Let us know in the comments what you think. Moving on, we're going to go into any other news. Right, so in this part, basically, there's no mic, so I'm going to be doing it. And basically, all I know at this moment in time, since what's happened last time, is that we've seen a couple of outs, but most notably, Caleb Ekiban. He's gone to, I can't remember what they're called, but it's some team in Turkey, isn't it? Is it
Trabzonspor?
Yeah, I don't know how to say it, but apparently. But yeah, that's who it is. And he's gone on loan for the rest of the season. I'm going to guess we probably won't see him again. It's me. Big gut feeling. Oh, that's another thing as well, actually, is I don't know if it's been finalised, but apparently Willem 2 are going to be taking Vernon Anita on loan as well. Just remember that. That's the rumour. I've seen it floating around the Facebook groups. So it sounds like he might be going as well. But otherwise, we've signed Isaiah Brown. And you might remember him being at Huddersfield Town when all the riots started, when Gary Monk stopped Wagner from running. when he stepped in front of him, and it all kicked off, and Janssen nearly twatted him. But yeah, now they're going to be teammates, so that's going to be an interesting training session, isn't it? First training session. But yeah, what do you think, Matt?
I mean, Bielsa said he wanted someone who could potentially cover for Saiz, because Saiz is, when he's on form, he's the heartbeat of the team. Everything good pretty much goes through him. And if he picks up an injury or a suspension or, form drops off, then we didn't really have anybody who could play that role. I mean, I suppose you could say Hernandez potentially could play in there, but then it leaves space open on the right or the left, which we don't know how we're going to fill, because sometimes, Harrison maybe isn't ready to step up and do it week in, week out. So to get him in, very good. From what I've seen, he's very good. A lot of potential. He's played all the way up to England under 21s. He's had a few injury niggles.
Yeah, he had a long-term injury, didn't he?
Yeah. So hopefully he's over that and he can get some football in. But I mean, in terms of signings, I think everybody was baying for a centre back, but Bielsa's just not having any of it.
Yeah, it sounds like it.
I mean, I'm glad we've got someone in, and he looks like he's a good player, and he can come and do a job. I'm not all that familiar with him, to be perfectly honest. I'm going to be looking into him a bit more, but yeah, it's good that we've got cover for Saiz, but I think we still should have had cover for centre back and cover for Phillips potentially in that defensive midfield role, because I don't know, I can't help thinking that maybe we get to November and get a bit leggy, all his injuries, and things drop off because the players he wants to fit in those positions are not very good in those positions, and he's going to be regretting it potentially. I hope it isn't the case, but that's sort of my feeling, and that's why I wanted another centre back in.
Well, my feeling is that I think that he's hoping that Shaughnessy can probably cover both centre back and the ball winning midfielder, if you want to call it, role that Phillips does. That's my guess. It's whether that that game probably shows how far away he's off starting really in the league. If I'm being completely honest, who knows? It might have just been one of those nights. Phillips had one other night. He got hauled off, didn't he? He got hauled off at half time. Yeah. So who knows? But we'll have to wait and see at this point, I suppose. Izzy Brown, though, on the other hand, I can see he's. I've got him on you should see him on the screen now. He can play anywhere in midfield, basically, in an attacking sense, on either wing, up front. But mainly, like you say, is like backup for Saiz. Is like an attacking midfield centre, really, by trade, if you like. Apparently, he's not very determined, which kind of concerns me. But otherwise, he's not bad, to be fair, at this level. So yeah, looking forward to see how he gets on. Apparently, according to the game, he's had an injury for a pulled hamstring for 2 to 3 months. So therefore, that's probably what the actual injury is. I knew he'd been injured for a bit, but it tends to be that. But obviously, he's coming on loan from Chelsea. And yeah, it'd be interesting to see how he gets on. But I've got a sneaky feeling we won't see him for a couple of weeks while he gets used to the system. But anyway, so now we're going to move on to, basically the last part, which is the predictions part. And obviously we've got no mic here, but you should be able to see on the screens now. Right, I said 1-1 for the game against Norwich, which obviously I lost that. Mike said 2-1. And Mattinho said 2-0, didn't you, mate?
I did.
Yeah, and obviously we won 3-0, and by virtue of Mattinho being the nearest, he wins a point for the game against Norwich. So therefore, at this point, it's 3-3-0 is the score. Thank you, future Mike, for sending us the template, which he, at this moment in time, hasn't, but no worries. But then moving on to the Preston predictions, I said 3-1, so I was way off. I was the furthest away. Martino said 2-0 to us, but Mike is actually the closest, even despite predicting a Leeds win. He said 2-1, but as I said before, by virtue of being the closest, Mike gets his first point on the board. Let's get some cheers in the house.
About bloody time.
Yeah, go on, Mike. Come back on. So yeah, but moving into the predictions for the Middlesbrough game, I have actually got Mike's on the screen now, and he says Leeds 2, Middlesbrough 2. What are you saying, Matt?
I'm torn. Because we talk in the we've got a Twitter chat that we talk in.
Yeah, I've got it on here. I've actually got your prediction in front of me.
I think I said 3-2, but I don't know. I'm toying with 2-1 now because I know you've gone something different, haven't you? What did you go for?
I've gone for I believe I said 1-1.
I'll stick with 3-2.
3-2, yeah.
I'll stick with 3-2.
Did I say 1-1? Yeah, I did say 1-1. Yeah, you said we've got all the score predictions. But even so, yeah, 1-1 from me, 3-2 from Matt, and 2-2 from Mike. So me and Mike obviously not that confident following that Preston game, I guess. But we've got to remember it is his first team. I'm just concerned about the physicality thing, and obviously it's Tony Pulis' side, which is going to be very physical, I would guess. Right, so that's going to bring us to the end of this edition. Hopefully the shorter format has suited a few more people, hopefully. Let us know what you think in the comments below if you have indeed enjoyed it a little bit more, maybe being a bit shorter. But otherwise now it's time to let Mattinho pimp his channel.
I do mainly racing content, some Football Manager, but I've done that for a while. I'm thinking of maybe just canning the idea of doing 2018 and just going back to 2019. I've got some ideas for it. But yeah, the main thing I'm doing at the moment is racing, and tomorrow I've got the start of my F1 2018 series. So if you're into your Formula One, go check that out. It should be a very interesting start.
Yeah, it's really good as well. Like I said, I've really enjoyed the. I didn't watch loads, but I've watched bits. But he's funny when he's especially when he's live. Yeah, some if you're into swearing and road rage, like which I'm sure a lot of people are. And then, yeah, he's the man to watch. So, yeah, thank you very much for joining us once again. We'll be back next week to cover the Middlesbrough game. Just the Middlesbrough game, of course. Then we've got the international break and then just a small matter of Millwall. So, yeah, looking forward to that. And, of course, getting revenge against Preston, because that's obviously going to happen, clearly. But anyway, hopefully you join us next time. And until then, we'll see you then. Bye-bye.